All right. So this training's for that new system, SAP Concur. My name's Frank Rivera. In case you don't know me, computer programmer. Worked here in the district many years in different roles. I've been a computer programmer working on my second year now. So we have staff from UIL department, the ACE program, superintendent's office. We have staff from AP from our department and finance over here. So anybody's welcome to chime in at any point if there's something that should be added. Don't let me say anything that's not correct, or correct me if I say something wrong, please. All right. You all hearing me? See, okay, thanks. So let's go to SAP Concur. See. So this is a system that we're using to replace that out-of-district travel form. That's the way we've been communicating that. Like whenever you would use an out-of-district travel form in the past, the triplicate, what we call the triplicate, well, this system replaces that, right? I'm not sure if we'll need to change how we communicate that, but that's how we've been saying it. So we're going to go over how it works and how to use it. As a traveler, this PowerPoint is for travelers, and the PowerPoints I'm going to go over, I sent them to you, plus they're posted on the Concur website when you log in. So when you first log in at concursolutions.com, you can also just type concur.com, and that works. You'll see this screen up top. Type in your lajoyaisd.net email and click next. From there, you'll get this screen down here at the bottom. And you click on the top link that says La Jolla ISD as your AD. Okay. Once you click on that, it should let you in. You might have to do another step or two because it's connected to our system. But basically, your credentials are the ones that you use to log in to to your computer. A request. The vocabulary here is a request and report, and of course cash advance. So what's new to me and probably to you all is the idea of a request and a report. So request is how you submit a travel request asking approval for your travel plans. So this PowerPoint is about submitting that. A report, that is when you come back from your trip and you're wanting to then request reimbursement or just report the trip. Like sometimes you don't get reimbursement, but you need to submit, how the money was spent, the receipts and all that. So you click on new to start, and then start and click on start a request. So here on the top, we're showing the old triplicate form. So that the information that used to go on there, you would put it into SAP Concur, which this is a screenshot on the bottom of SAP Concur. You give your trip a name, put in the dates, the times, and the account number. One thing about the account number, here there's a drop-down menu, and I'm the one that loads those into the system. So if you're missing an account number, you're saying, it's not showing up on my drop-down, you can call me or email me, and I can help you with that. Typically, they're tied to the location. So whatever your location is, you only get access to those accounts. Notice here they have hyphens, but in SAP Concur they have underscores. And this PowerPoint was made before we had made that change. So the underscores, that is, if you use the hyphen and you're looking for an account and you're doing a search, you're not going to find it. So you got to use the underscore. You also need to put in the user type, which here it's either student travel or employee travel, right? Then the trip type. So the trip type, that's going to be like, in district, in region, or overnight, that kind of thing. And down there, it's the UIL advancement. So that's a special thing we added here lately. So those of you, right now we have an athletics UIL advancement, and we have a fine arts. And I believe it's limited to only those two. That they would select yes here. Otherwise, select no. course, this is region 1 where we're at. So these are the trip types, right? In region, non-overnight, in region, overnight, out of region, or out of state. So I think y'all are familiar with that. So once you're in the system, you're going to be adding, just like we used to have the, sorry, just like we used to have the triplicate form. So now you're going to do something called expected expenses. So you click on add, and it gives you this drop-down menu or this menu where you can put in the hotel expense if you're traveling by air, or if you're renting a car, parking, personal car mileage, whatever, your meals, right? Those kinds of expenses. And so here, this is an example of adding meals for student travel. So the student travel meals are called field trip. They have the phrase field trip in front of them, like field trip breakfast, field trip lunch, field trip dinner. They'll be asking you the number of days and the number of travelers. It says travelers because that includes students, chaperones, sponsors, bus drivers, right? And these are the daily rates. So it's the rate is in there. You cannot change that. And once you put the number of days and calculators in and you click save, it'll calculate the total amount for you. Meals, these are meals that don't have the field trip in front of them. These are for employee travel. And so you get different rates. This one doesn't show the rate, but it works the same way. You put in the number of days and the number of travelers, which might be, if you're doing this for yourself, it might be just one traveler. Click save and it'll calculate the amounts for you. Under hotel, you have something called detail. And the detail, we want you to put the hotel information, right? And over here under the amount, well, the total amount. Yeah, and just a reminder to consider the per diem daily rate for hotel. So remember, there are limits there. For car mileage, we encourage you, your first option should be to use the round trip mileage chart from the district. And you can click here. See, I don't know if I can actually click there because I'm using this thing. But you click there and it'll take you to the district website where you can download or open the mileage chart. If that's for some reason not available, like the city's not there or something like that, then you can click on mileage calculator right here, and that will open up a calculator from SAP Concur that will you can use for that purpose. Alrighty, and of course the distance here that will the mileage calculator will calculate that for you, or you can get it from up here from our mileage chart, right? If you're needing a cash advance, which is common, I think, with student travel, for meals, for example, in your request, this is what your request would look like. This test right here, that's actually the name of the request. So that might say UIL or track meet or something, whatever it is. You put in as the name of the request. You have your request ID. So for this particular request, you click on this request details, and this drop down will come up, and you can click on cash advance, and that'll open up this window, which lets you type in how much you're needing in advance. So you put in all the expenses for the meals, and then here you would say, well, I need all that in cash up front, so that, because that's what you need for this particular trip. And there is a note here to make sure that you justify your cash advance. So that would be in the comments here, why are you needing this cash advance? So once, you also have to attach documents, right? Whatever you used to attach to the triplicate, you had a little packet with your triplicate. You need to scan that into a single PDF and attach it here. And here's the list of items like student lists, agendas, agenda rationales, if applicable, conference registration, so on. Once you're done with submit, you added all your expenses, you put in your attachments, you can click on submit request. So here you're starting to see this is what it looks like, right? Like here's your trip name, whatever the name is, and the view timeline. Under request details, you have information like the timeline, which means who are the approvers going to be, and so on. So after you submit it, it's going to go. I'm sorry. Keep in mind that this is just a request, and that once you return from the trip, you'll have to complete an expense report. So that's the new vocabulary, right? When you say report, that's what you submit when you come back, requesting reimbursement or just reporting the expenses. And if you are traveling with students and you need a P card, please email i.salinas3, that's email the Salinas with your request ID so that she can help you with that. There's a feature called delegates, and this should be of interest to secretaries mainly, because secretaries you can be, but it doesn't have to be a secretary. So it could be a coordinator. If you want to be a delegate for some of your teachers, that would mean that you would have access to enter requests for them. Just like with the triplicate, maybe they can prepare it, but maybe you would enter it into SAP Concur, or they could put most of it in there, but you're the one that knows the account number, so you could go in and put in the account number, that kind of thing. Here in the top right, the way to become a delegate or to use the delegate feature is they would log in, and here in the top right, they would see, or you would see your initials. Like I would see FR for Frank Rivera. And then you would click here on profile settings. That would open up this window. And in your profile settings, you would click here where it says request delegates. That would open up this down here where you can add. And here would have the email. You would do a little search and find whoever your delegate's going to be. So teachers can do this for themselves. They can log on. They can click on their initials, click on their profile settings, go to request delegates, and they can search for the secretary here and add the secretary or whoever they want to add. And they say that person can prepare, can submit reports, can submit requests, and can view receipts, for example. They can also receive emails, right, or not, right? A lot of times I think that's left off. So the delegate feature is basically letting a different employee enter a request for you. If you call me, we can help set you up that way for somebody if you're having trouble with that. So once you have a delegate, it says here, how do you know if, how do you use that, right? Well, you click on the initials again at the top right, you log in, so you're logged in. Let's say you're the secretary, you want to submit something for a teacher. You click on your initials in the top right, and you select here where it says act as another user. You click on that, and then it prompts you here. You can say a delegate for another user who has granted you. So you got to have permission first. So you got to do that other part first, and then when you click here, that person's name will be here in the drop down. And you say, well, so you go through your drop. If you have multiple teachers that you're able to enter requests for, here you would select the correct person, and then once you select the person, you click switch, and this kind of here on number 5 at the bottom, you'll see that appear at the top right, that you're acting as that person. If you're not acting as that person and you enter a request, then you're entering the request for yourself, and and like it'll go through the system as if you're the one traveling. So if you're wanting to enter a request for somebody else, you got to make sure that it says that you're acting as that person when you're entering the request. Any questions about anything we've gone over so far?
Dr. Rivera, I'm sorry. This is Miss Leal. I came in a little bit late because I was having trouble with my Surface. I don't know if you went over this, but I was wondering, what about like the on the approval chain? So, like for example, if my coordinators submit a travel request, will that go to me? Like, how is that approval chain set up?
Yeah, on the request side, and when you say a coordinator, these are the system SAP Concur is based off of employee locations, work locations. So they're assigned to a campus, correct?
Yes, they are assigned to a campus. That's correct.
Okay, so then the first person that it would go to would be the campus principal.
Okay.
Then after that, the second person would depend on the account that's being used. So, I
So
can give
it'll
you
be
more
similar to Alio.
similar, but not exactly the same, right? But it is
So like if
similar.
it's the fund for my grant, the 265, it would go to me.
Yeah, I can answer that question directly. Like we can talk afterwards, right? But
Okay.
those are things that I set up, right? Uh, within certain limits. So it's not exactly like Alio, but it does mimic Alio. Um, and so like the second person that it goes to is what we call the account approver. So if it's a 152 fund, then that would go to George Flores. If it's a like a 211, a 162, that would go to JR Flores, right? As a second step. Athletic Fund 181 goes to Victor Garza, and so on.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different situations that we set up that way, right? I
Okay.
would have to look to confirm whether we set you up that way or not,
Okay.
right? So then after it, like for example, let's say it's a 211. Well, uh, it would go to Mr. Flores, and after Mr. Flores, it would go to the assistant superintendent, most likely Martin Munoz, right? But in some cases, it might be one of the other assistant superintendents. Um, so yeah, so, but yeah,
Okay.
you can send me an email about a specific account, and I can tell you like the flow, like how that's gonna go. And if
Okay.
and if
I'm
it
ready.
and if it needs to change, we can talk about what's possible. Yeah,
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Rivera.
yes, ma'am. Anything else? Good question. All righty, you can stop me at any time with questions. Let's see. So it's recommended to reach out to your campus secretary or department head. So this training is going to be available. It's already available, this PowerPoint. So we're hoping that teachers will read this, and we're really hoping that they can go to you, the secretaries, if you're a secretary, or to department heads, um, if they have questions about SAP Concur. So that's one of our goals for this training for you, right? Is that you're able to help them with that. But if you need to contact us, here are some phone numbers where you can call us for help with this.